This week we're going to review the concepts of the second section in leading, which is basically managing groups and teams and how to motivate our employees. We also have to keep in mind that our human resources are our best asset. If there is not motivated people, we barely can have a company or organization productive. So it's very important how we treat our human resources. In this, one of the main concepts that we have to differentiate is what is a group, what is a team. A group is just a collection of, but it's not just, it's a collection of individuals. Both will have to reach a goal. But in the team there is more cohesion, more cooperation. They find accountable to each other. So they work together, they understand, they have a strong communication, they have more commitment with the goals of the organization and the project that they are going to work on. So that is something that must be very, very, very important to keep in mind. There are different stages also when we form groups. When we are structuring, when we are developing groups, read about forming, storming, norming, and performing stages. Those different moments when a group forms, and also at the end, the group has to dissociate. This week we are going to review the concepts of groups, teams, and how we motivate our workforce. We have to make a very clear difference between a group and a team. A group is a collection of people. They are skilled in different areas and they work towards a goal. But in a team, the difference in a team is that a team is they feel accountable to each other. There is more communication between them. There is commitment. There is more connection once again to reach the goal. So this leads to increasing the productivity of the group. Once again, a team is a special kind of group, but with a reduced number of people. The reason why it's less is because, the larger the group, the harder to agree on different parts of the different moments of the project is because some may have different points of view. There are different stages of group development, forming, storming, norming, and performing. So that goes from the moment that they just get together to the moment when they communicate better, they feel more comfortable, they feel more open to talk, and finally the adjourning, because that's the goodbye. Some concept that we need to understand is what is called social loafing. Social loafing is when individuals in some group, and you have seen this, if you already have worked in a group, some members are more active, some others are more quiet. So, and that's also that depends on the psychological background that the person may have. So, but it's important when there is collective efficiency. Efficacy, because in that moment the group is more productive. In the book, read please about the task roles, which is very important. The roles that each member will have, social roles, and the boundaries planning roles. How large a group might be, it depends. Some groups are 5, 20 people, but remember also always keep in mind that the larger the group, the harder it is to coordinate all activities. Diversity, is it good or is it bad? In some ways it's good because that increases the discussion, because more people will have different points of view. That is also based on experience, but the weaknesses in some areas might be the strengths that represent weaknesses for other people. So they complement each other because they are, once again, they have different experiences. Team contract. This is very important. Which the rules are, what the roles will be, which roles everybody will have in the company or in the project. As always, the rules must be stated very clearly from the beginning. You cannot change, in many cases, you cannot change the rules when you are in the middle of the project, because that will create some uncomfortability in the group. For a team meeting, always there are 3 moments: before, during, and after. Before, read everything that is needed for the meeting, get ready for that. During, actively have an active discussion in the group, and after the meeting, following ups. Don't you believe that after the meeting is done, that everything is done? If you're going, for example, a group work, do a follow-up. In this class, the time is short, but in regular semester, for example, we make group discussions, and if you are in that situation, if you are not the reporting leader, at least try to communicate each other to say, hey, everything went okay, do you need anything, blah, blah, blah. So it's good to do a follow-up. We jump now to chapter 14, motivation. Motivation is the driving force that coordinates, leads to getting the results. So it's like the initial energy that you will have to do a project. For example, if you are you're planning on becoming healthy in terms of physically healthy, because in terms of doing exercise, motivation is key. First, you need to work your mind. This is my goal. And then you have to think about if you have the skills or you are ready to start with this project. And if you find, for example, a good gym, that you have good machines, you have a nice environment that is very appealing to you, and then you are more motivated to go. I will add in the email that I will send this week about 2 or 3 companies so you can compare about people are motivated at work. One is Zappos, this shoe and clothing retailer, and 2 other companies, so you can make the comparison about the styles that these companies are putting in practice. Then we have 2 groups of different theories. This is very important for you to review them and to understand them. One is the need-based theories of motivation, and the other ones are the process-based theories. In the need-based theories of motivation, there are 4 theories. One is the Maslow hierarchy of needs. That's a classical model. It's like a pyramid where we have the physiological needs, and then we go to the self-actualization needs. Physiological is like basic functions that everybody has, like breathing, food, water, good sleep. That's basically, if you don't eat good, you are hungry and you cannot be productive. If you don't sleep well, you will feel tired next day. So that's that's a lot of there is a lot of biology behind this, but that's a very classical, and it's very good that you understand it, because if you haven't, you will hear about this always. Maslow hierarchy of needs. Remember, a pyramid with different levels of needs. Then we have the ERG theory. This is a summarized version of the Maslow hierarchy of needs. Then we have the two-factor theory. The two-factor theory is regarding the levels of satisfaction and dissatisfaction. And there is how the motivation, for example, has a key role in this theory. Then we have the acquired needs theory. Need of achievement, need of affliction, and need of power. Need of achievement will be a person, for example, who is has a strong need to be successful, because in the past that gave him or her satisfaction. Affliction is a social aspect, how the person is accepted. And with the need of power, you have to be very careful, because need of power, if you are not smart enough of controlling it in a group, that could have very, very negative effects. So be careful with the need of power. Some people, they feel better when they exercise power in the group, but be careful. Think about the other person too. For a moment, put yourself on the other side, and if you would like to see things going that way. About the process-based theories, we have three theories. This is also important, because these are classical theories. Equity theory, expectancy theory, and reinforcement theory. Equity theory, we want people to be treated fair at work. We don't want, this is like for example, for those of you who have kids, you don't want to make difference between the different kids if they are at the same level. The same is at work, the same happens at work. If you have workers, you don't want to make difference in the group. In my experience, for example, when there is a new person in the group, you cannot say, okay, we're going to open this position, we hope that this person is good as, to say a name, as Mary. You have 50 people in front of you, you cannot make an exception in the front of everyone. If Mary is a good worker, just call her to your office and tell her, hey, you are doing good, blah, 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 blah. But you don't have to make those differences in the group, because that will discourage people. So think about how other people will react when you take these actions. Once again, read about expectancy theory and reinforcement theory. In reinforcement theory, there are two big contributors to this theory: the behavioral conditioning and the operant conditioning. One is has been described by Pavlov, which is this is a very classical theory, and the other one by Skinner. These are two strong names, big names in the field of psychology. This has a lot to do also how, for example, if a person is very committed to work, they know that the work they're doing is very important for Monday, they go on the weekend to work. If the manager recognizes that extra effort, obviously there are companies where you cannot go to work after business hours, but if you do it, and on the meeting in the morning, on Monday, it's good, goes good, and he or she recognizes your effort, then you feel good. You will do probably the same or better next time. But if you are ignored, you feel that your effort, your extra effort is not recognized, probably you won't act the same way next time. Job design is very important too. Read about the scientific management. We talked about this theory by Taylor on the first module of this class, which is the scientific management, which has a lot to do with job specialization to increase efficiency in the group, job rotation, job enlargement, job enrichment, and also read about the job characteristics model and the goal setting theory, the SMART model: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. You can read about this SMART. Now, when you deal with groups, once again, this has a lot to do with the psychological basis of human behavior. As humans, and let's talk just for a few seconds about biological reasons, it depends on many times on our levels in neurotransmitters, because you will see that some people by nature they are more introvert, some others are more extrovert, some people are more active, some others are more quiet, and this has a reason in neurotransmitters. And neurotransmitters, these small molecules that are released in our neural system and control our activities, has a biological background, a biological reason, and also psychologically it depends of our external environment, how we've been trained during our life experiences to act in one way or the other. When you deal a group, think about the group, the team. Try to make your groups working as a team. Try to be a good leader, influencing them to work as a team. As a team, you cannot say I. You cannot say my. You can, in some cases. But try to consider using the word we or us. This is our group. This is our effort. This is the result of our joint work, our joint effort. Think about that. I, me versus we or us. So this is basically what we will cover this module. Read the book. This time I will let you to read everything about these two chapters, because everything in these two chapters is very important for you to understand. It has different concepts that are going to be very useful for your future professional career, or those of you who are already working. You can see that it's very important, the teamwork. Okay, I will follow it up through an email, and have a wonderful week.